Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 9 of the Big at the Bat podcast. I'm joined once again by Matthew Higgins. Matt, how are you?
Pretty good. Surviving the heat wave, this late summer heat wave. But it's a bit fucking brutal out there, isn't it? The last weekend has been absolutely stiflingly hot. But thankfully, I haven't melted just yet. But yeah, not too bad. Week off work this week, so I'm enjoying just chilling, doing nothing for a week. But yeah, how are you?
Is that different to your normal weeks? Is it?
Hey. I do some work now that I've got this new job.
I don't believe you. You know that.
Several evenings last week, I was working until like 9-10 o'clock in the evening, like actual work.
Yeah, it's annoying when that happens, isn't it? That's typically my normal working hours because most of my clients are in the US, but it does mean that I get nice slower mornings. So got lots of time to get up, do nothing, and then get ready for a long old evening of work.
Can't beat a bit of morning masturbation, can you?
I wouldn't say it's that, especially if my wife listens to this, and especially if my parents listen to this. So we have had a weekend without FPL. Your wife went out. You were home alone and there was no football on the TV. How did you survive?
I survived quite comfortably, actually, because it was the first week of the NFL season and I'm into my NFL as well. And Sunday night is NFL night. 7 hours of commercial-free football on the NFL Red Zone. It's really good. It would be great if they did like a similar concept in the UK, but it's for like our football because the way they do it is they just cut between all the games. And when there's like a scoring opportunity in one game, they just go to that one and they're flicking between them all. So, and it's really good. And it's good for like newer fans as well, because they explain a lot of what's happening. So that was my Sunday night while she was out watching Busted.
Nice. They do that on foreign sports channels as well. Not that I would possibly know what it's like watching Astro Sports or Opta Sports work for the 3 o'clock games. I would never know that.
But you're a globetrotter, Tom. You've been around the world. You know these things.
Exactly. But when there's a goal like in the 3 o'clock games, they show it and they cut to that game and they do commentary on it. It's great. So I think England and Sky and BT are just really, really lacking behind. Speaking of England, we did have a game at the weekend, and by the time this rolled around, I was incredibly drunk. So I do remember it, but I also remember being pretty wound up at Southgate for the whole thing. So what were your thoughts on the England game?
It was just a bit, lackluster. There wasn't really much going on. A classic example of having a lot of the ball and not being able to do much with it. Ukraine came out with a plan to sit behind the ball, counter-attack where possible, and it worked for them pretty well. Obviously, took the lead, Zinchenko, with a nicely worked goal from a counter-attack. Good to see Kyle Walker get his first goal for England after 80-odd caps. But yeah, it was just it was a frustrating watch. But a lot of people find it very easy to get wound up and get their back up about these games. I genuinely don't care. Qualify, that's all I care about. And then I will criticise when it comes to the matches that actually matter.
But I think in the matches that actually matter, I think Southgate should have been fired after the France, or he should have left. After that France loss, he should have gone. He is completely obsessed with playing players that just shouldn't be in the team and shouldn't even be in the squad, realistically. The fact that you're still playing Harry Maguire and Jordan Henderson and they're starting for England, when Maguire's he's played more minutes for England now than he has Manchester United in the last year. Henderson isn't playing competitive football anymore and he's 33. There is no value to playing these players, and we've got so many good young attacking players. Like, imagine a midfield 2 or 3 of Bellingham plus Rice plus 1, and you can say James Maddison in a cam role, but instead you've got Maddison out on the left, you've got Rashford as an actual left winger on the bench, and it's just that insistence on playing these stalwarts that have done, I'll quote mark this, well for him. And like Pickford, come on, genuinely the worst goalkeeper in the Premier League, not even in the top 30 goalkeepers in the country. I was making this argument too, and that includes the Championship goalkeepers. No way should he be starting for England. Come on.
Yeah, Pickford's the one for me. I think obviously Ramsdale or Pope should be in there. I mean, Johnston was in the squad, which, whatever. I'm assuming he's not going to be first choice at Palace. much longer. But yeah, that's the strange one. Maguire doesn't bother me. He hasn't really put a foot wrong for England. He had one bad game against Hungary last year where he got sent off. But other than that, he's never really put a foot wrong. Henderson, you can probably make the argument that if Trent didn't withdraw through injury, Henderson wouldn't have been playing. So, like, again, it doesn't really bother me. We'll watch him. I'll watch him tomorrow night as we're recording this. We play Scotland in like a glorified friendly. That one should be feisty.
That one's going to be interesting. And just because our Scottish friend needs to, there's always a nice opportunity to put him in his place, you know?
He's not really Scottish, though, is he?
He thinks he is. And that's
he's like one of those fake Irish people that go out and celebrate Paddy's Day every year. I'm like, oh, my great-great-grandfather 3 times removed was Irish. Yeah, but you're not. You just want to go and get pissed.
Yeah, they had one Guinness once, Matt. That counts.
Yeah, true.
Right. But yeah, I get very frustrated watching England because the team, if you look at it on paper and if you look at their performances, are exceptional. Bellingham has been Real Madrid's best player since he's joined. And they're just being so limited by such tactical ineptitude, which is what really frustrates me. And as much as we say, oh, he's done really well in big tournaments, he's not beat a top-class big team in big tournaments. In fact, he's lost to everyone that he's come up against. France in the World Cup. Yes, we beat Germany, but Germany were this is the worst Germany side we had seen in a long, long time. And
until this week when they lost 4-1 to Japan and Hansi Flick got fired.
And that is the first time since 1936 that Germany have fired a coach, because every other time when a coach has known they aren't doing well, they have stepped aside and stepped down graciously.
What was happening in 1930s Germany? Remind me.
I can't remember too much. Is it a special day today as well? But yeah, they haven't fired a coach since 1936. So they really hate firing coaches, but they still did it when they've got a bad coach. Southgate hasn't beaten a big team as England manager. Full stop.
I think it's not too much of a stretch of the imagination to assume that the Euros next year will be his last tournament, and regardless, I think he'll be stepping aside after that. The big question is who comes in next. Who is realistically out there that wants that job? If I'm the FA, I know I am throwing everything I have at trying to play on Pep Guardiola's ego to come and do it at international level.
I agree, but they'll be stingy and they'll go for Graham Potter.
I'd rather Harry Potter. He can work magic.
We'll see. We did promise that this week we would put a little wildcard draft together for you guys. And unlike what we normally do, we've actually kept to our promise. So we've got...
Madness.
I know, it's pretty crazy. So we both put together our thoughts on a wildcard team, what it would look like, what the strategy should be, and we'll talk through our decisions and why we've done it. So we've had a look at this. From your wildcard team, how many changes would you make from your team now? Or what would be your transfer cost if you just did them all as normal transfers?
It'll be a 16-point hit. That's bearing in mind I already have 2 in the bank. So yeah, that's a six transfers for me.
Yeah, I've got 1 in the bank and mine was like a 32-point hit or 36-point hit or something like that. But mine was quite radically different.
Yeah, see, I like the core of my squad, really. It's just there's a few things that I'd like to change. It's more about just shifting the funds around for me more than anything.
So if you're looking at your draft wildcard team, should we start with the goalkeepers and work up from there?
Oh, I think that probably makes sense. And I think you can tell that I've definitely got rid of one of my goalkeepers because one of them was Jordan Pickford. So he is definitely gone if I was wildcarding. But I've kept Areola in as a 4 starting keeper. And I've gone for the 2 4.0 keepers starting. So I've gone Areola and Turner.
That's boring. So have I.
It's boring because it makes sense.
The reason is, with a goalkeeper, I think this season you either go premium and go Pope or Alisson, or you go cheap and you go Areola and Turner. No one's keeping clean sheets, and the big teams are the only ones that will start keeping clean sheets. At the moment, no one is. So for me, that means all goalkeepers suck. Go for the cheap ones that are starting. Areola and Turner, the problem is there's a couple of weeks where one has Man City and the other has Liverpool, and then they reverse them. So the rotation isn't great. But if you can stomach having 2 weeks where it's a bit shit, then I think, yeah, go for it. And in my wildcard, that's probably what I'll be doing.
It's not too bad. So it's next week where there's like the big fixture clash, really, and Turner has City, Areola has Liverpool. So that's obviously the tricky one. But other than that, it's not too bad. So this week, West Ham have Man City, and Forest are at home to Burnley. So that's not too bad. And then in a few weeks' time, West Ham have Newcastle, but Forest have Palace. So like, there's a good rotation there for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think for that Liverpool City week, it's tough. That aside, though, yeah, and I think you can stomach just the 2-1 or 0 for 1 week.
Yeah.
Who have you gone for in defence? Because I was quite bold with some of my defensive picks, and it's actually very different to what I've got now. I mean, the only defender who I've got now that I would have in a wild card would be Ben Chilwell.
Yeah, that's I've kept Chilwell and also Estupinian because I feel like you can't get rid of him. We've spoken about this before. It's just too much of a risk. I've also kept Kabore just as the 4.0 on the bench, not going to touch anything. I have brought in someone that's already been mentioned on this podcast, though, as a rogue little shout. Fairly good fixtures coming up. I put Harry Maguire in at 4.3 with their defensive woes. He's going to be in for a starting berth in the coming weeks.
He is. Why Maguire and not Evans?
Because Maguire's funnier.
Evans is what? He must be 4.0.
Yeah, he is 4.0. But also, if like only one, like the people coming back, Maguire's going to be the one that plays over Evans.
I don't hate it, but I know that Lindelof looks like he's back. I don't know if Varane is back or when Varane is expected back.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm not sure. Bear in mind, I'm not actually wildcarding. I didn't do that much research. I just thought it was fun.
I get that you did it for banter. 2 players that I brought in were Ugoli for Spurs, just been really good this season.
Likewise.
Ahead of Van der Ven, because Jesse Blaze is a wing back, even though I still have the gut feeling about Van der Ven. And Matty Cash, because he is the best defender and the worst defender simultaneously. So
it's great, isn't it? Like, it's just... I know I said about this last week, but to be the second or third highest scoring defender, whatever it is in the game, and have 2 -1 performances in 4 weeks is just, it is special.
Yeah, it's incredible. My 5th defender was Reece James. I went double Chelsea defence. And this would be a bit of a speculation shot. The fixtures are great. Reece James is back in training, pictured back in training. So it could be a really fun differential if he's playing, because we know if Reece James plays and plays well, then he's mopping up all 3 bonus points. He's probably getting goal threat, but it's Reece James.
Realistically, we know that whatever happens, say he's back and plays this weekend against Bournemouth, he'll play 57 minutes, come off injured, and then it's just a complete waste again.
He'll have had a yellow card as well. So
yeah.
I've put him in because I'm not actually wildcarding. If you're actually wildcarding, I'd really consider whether you do that. Maybe safer to go for an Arsenal defender. But
I think you should bring him in and captain him.
What, like Chelsea did? Just to recap, 2 goalkeepers for me are Turner and Areola. Then across the back, I would have Ugodi, Estupinian, Chilwell, Cash, and Reece James.
Yeah, so same keepers for me, and the defence are doggy, because that's how I'm always going to say it. Maguire, Estupinian, Chilwell, and Kabore.
Excellent. Why don't you talk us through your midfield thoughts?
So my midfield actually has only had 1 change to it. Because I like the core of the midfield. There's one person, again, I could sort of look to move off, but I don't see a better use of the money at the moment, and that's Luis Diaz. I think he's still been playing well. Liverpool got good fixtures, so I think, and we know what he can do. He's a very good player. So the other ones that still say the same are Saka and Mbeumo and Rashford. Rashford, despite Man United's woes, has returned in the last 2 games, and they've got a good run of fixtures coming up. Brighton next is a fairly tough one, but after that, they've got a good run of fixtures. And then the other one that's changed is Richarlison, because he has to come out. And I've made the easy move of Richarlison to Maddison.
Yeah, he's got to come out. And I've already taken him out of my main team. But actually, on my wildcard, the midfield is a little bit different to yours. So I also went for Maddison, but I've also got Heung-min Son in there as well. I like the double up, and assuming you're wildcard now, you've got to hold most of this team for quite a while. Spurs have a really nice fixture run in, I think, 8 to 10. At that point, you're going to want both Maddison and Son. So I think, why not just solve the problem, get them both in now? Son will still deliver against big teams. So I would have him over Rashford at the moment on a wild card. I've also got Saka and Mbeumo. I think we were talking, Saka doesn't feel untouchable this season. Everyone's got him. It could be really nice to go somewhere else. Even Bruno Fernandes, everyone's dropping, or loads of people have dropped. So if you look at a Saka versus Bruno over the next 3 or 4 weeks, let's see where they play, because Anthony is now not playing, but that surely makes Bruno better. So I think Bruno Fernandes could be a really good caller as well. The other one I went for, because I had 6.5 in the bank, so I have 6.4 in the bank. Eze has dropped down to 6.3 and is still a brilliant player. So I think I would get Eze in my wildcard team at the moment.
It's a tricky one because, like you said on the podcast before, he's a very good player in a poor side, and it's a similar thing with Raheem Sterling at the moment. A very good player, but they're only as good. You can only really be as good an FPL asset as the team that's around you. So you've got to make things happen and score, and got people be on the end of them.
Raheem Sterling plays with Nicholas Jackson.
Oh yeah, true. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Safe to say he's not in either of our wildcard teams. Spoiler alert!
Hey, spoilers, Tom.
But yeah, I think James Maddison is a great shout, and you really want him for that great fixture run. I think Heung-min Son for that great fixture run as well could be great. I like your Luis Diaz shout. I just think Saka is good enough to stay, but I think you've got to have Liverpool attacking coverage somewhere. So I like that you've gone for Luis Diaz. Now, keeping that in mind, let's move on to the strikers.
Well, I know, speaking of attacking Liverpool players, we'll start with you.
Yes, I think you should have Darwin Núñez. So the 3 forwards I've got are Alvarez, Haaland, who will be captain pretty much every week, and Darwin. Darwin is chaos. He is fun. He's got 4 goals and 2 assists in his last 3 games for club and country. He is coming back strong. Darwin Núñez, if he's starting every game, is going to score loads of FPL points, and I wish I could buy him right now. I can't without a hit, but I think he's the Liverpool attacker's own, and he's 7.4 million, so he's still really cheap. The City attackers are self-explanatory. City are the best team in the league. Alvarez and Haaland are playing as a pair. Haaland's on penalties, which makes him better, but Alvarez is less than half the price. So I think both of them are just really, really the best options. And they're the top 2 scoring strikers so far as well. Darwin is a chaos, let's be wild pick. But yeah, that would be my perspective. And also do this with my bench boost in mind as well. Because if I'm wildcarding, I want to get the bench boost out of the way early so I don't have to care about it for the rest of the season. So I think when I wildcard, I will play my bench boost probably the week after. So I'd want to set myself up for that as well.
I like that because, we've spoken about this in previous years with the bench boost and how it is just a massive trap. Get it out of the way, get it over and done with, and then not have to think about it for the rest of the season. But I'm with you in the City pairing up front. I don't think you can look much further than them 2 as the best 2 strikers in the game at the moment. I spoke about this last week. That injury to De Bruyne has been a blessing in disguise for Julian Alvarez. Gives him a chance to come in and he really is making the most of it. And they've got a couple of good fixtures coming up as well. But I have gone with Gabriel Jesus as the third striker, coming back from injury. A couple of good games coming up. Everton next. I mean, come on, he's going to score about 6 against them.
But in the next 3, they've got the London Derby. And yes, the other 2 are Everton and Bournemouth. But then it's City at home, Chelsea away, then Sheffield United at home, Newcastle away. I don't know, the fixtures, you don't get a brilliant fixture run for them like you did at the start of the season. And Jesus, to me, just feels like a guy that should score more goals the amount of shots he takes. I just don't like him as an FPL asset. Compare that to the run that Darwin has. The next one, he's got Wolves away, then West Ham at home, then it's Tottenham and Brentford, but then Brighton, sorry. But then you're looking at Everton at home, Forest at home, Luton away. In those 3 fixtures from game week 9, they are astoundingly good. So that, for me, is a better run than what Gabriel Jesus has. And
all right, then. You've convinced me. I've changed it. It's now Nicholas Jackson.
Even better. It's 0.5 cheaper than Gabriel Jesus as well. And I think
Nicholas Jackson's even cheaper than that, so he must be even better.
I'm happy to put a little wager on who scores more FPL points from now, Darwin Nunez or Gabriel Jesus.
How about
you're scared, aren't you? Look at
Jackson v Darwin.
Yeah, like 100% between now and like game week. Let's have a look. 12. So end of
we
game
definitely week. Are going to forget this.
Pints on it. Yeah, pints.
Yeah. Deal.
Yeah. Okay. So by the end, between right now and the end of game week 11. Fair?
Deal.
Now, it's worth...
Come on, Nicholas. Come on, Nicholas.
In game week 11, Liverpool play Luton.
Yeah, but Chelsea have got Bournemouth, Fulham and Burnley in their next 4.
I don't think that those are going to be as easy as you think because Chelsea look bad.
I don't think they're going to be easy, but on paper they're good. They're better fixtures than you could... Like, it could be City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs.
Yeah,
even West Ham.
In this run, Liverpool have Wolves, Everton, Forest, and Luton, and Everton and Forest are at home.
Yeah, so what you're saying is Nicholas Jackson is definitely going to score more points. That's what I'm hearing. The thing is, the problem you've got is Darwin's a rotation risk. Nicholas Jackson will probably start every game.
We spoke about it last week. I'm not 100% sure on that, but sure. Let's pretend that's true. We've kind
of feel better about myself.
We've kind of touched on it on the planning ahead points, but Spurs have a great fixture this week. Sheffield United at home, you'd expect them to do well. After that, though, it's not Arsenal and Liverpool, but then following that is Luton, Fulham, and Palace. So I think for me, a wild card in game week 8 and a bench boost in game week 9. When I am trebled up on Liverpool, when I'm trebled up on Spurs against Fulham, I will also be trebled up on... Who are Luton playing? Nottingham Forest. I will have Awaniyi and I will have the goalkeeper. I think that could be a really fun bench boost. And Ben Crellin has come out and said there's not going to be that many double game weeks. 37 is almost certainly going to be a double game week. And in game week 20, there could be a very good City one. So that's when you save your triple captain for to go on De Bruyne if Haaland's not injured, or Alvarez if Haaland's not injured. Or if Haaland is injured for either of them, sorry. Haaland's the obvious one. But yeah, game week 20 is triple captain. But otherwise, bench boost just feels fun. Get it early in the season, get ahead of everyone.
I can't believe you haven't loaded up with Luton players ready for their double game week of Everton and Burnley. Carlton Morris, triple captain. Let's go.
You say that jokingly. I'm definitely bringing him in for that. Like, Luton's fixtures, away at Fulham, home to Wolves, double game week against Everton and Burnley. Like, you could... there's a good chance I bring Carlton Morris in next week for the game against Wolves.
I mean, but
then you're holding until game week 8 or 9, because then I'm going to wildcard around then anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a terrible idea. It's just Luton look poor. That's the problem. I thought, I know West Ham only beat them 2-1, but bearing in mind it was their first game at home in the Premier League, I expected a lot more from them.
Agreed. they don't really look like they know how they're playing is the challenge with Luton at the moment. So I think any team playing Luton, you should be targeting them. If I didn't have the Richarlison problem to fix, I would legitimately be bringing in Raul Jimenez. He looked really, really good in the last game, and he was very unlucky not to score a couple. And their next game is Luton at home, which is the best game you can get.
Scored for Mexico over the weekend as well. So he's finally found his shooting boots. They've been dug out of a closet somewhere.
That is my tip for the week, actually. Raul Jimenez as the guy to bring in. I think he'll get a couple of goals against Luton, or a goal and an assist.
It's definitely not impossible, is it? Let's be honest. Like you say, if he's gonna get anything at any point, that's when it's gonna be.
Yeah, you'd have to think so, wouldn't you? I am fully ready to put money on Raul Jimenez to score this weekend.
Let me find you some odds.
Yeah, what are they? They're probably really short, aren't they? Because it's Luton.
That's the problem, isn't it? Yeah. Soccer. United Kingdom. Premier League. Fulham v Luton. Player. 6-4 to score anytime.
That's a bit rubbish, isn't it? For a score,
I don't think you're going to get much more than that, are you?
Probably not. Well, I'll wait till the lineups come out, but then, yeah, I'll probably just do it anyway.
Whack £200 on it.
Well, at the beginning of the season, I was seriously considering putting £100 on. You could get Brentford to finish above Wolves. £100 returns 156, and I forgot about it, and I didn't do it. And then my dad, who I sent it to, was like, "Oh, did you do that? That's an easy way to make 50 quid." I did it, and I was like, "Oh no, I forgot." But yeah, I know. No, it wasn't my dad; it was someone else. Anyway, yeah.
The problem is, like, it's just such a long-winded way to make 50 quid.
You know, but. Yeah, like there are some really obvious bets we could have made. Jimenez to score, I think, is probably going to happen. Assuming you're looking to wildcard when I'm around game week 8 or 9 or so, the teams you really want to be watching are Aston Villa, Liverpool, Spurs. That's probably when you can start moving other City assets out as well.
West Ham.
You know what? Yeah, because you've got Everton.
It's Jared Bowen territory.
That is Jared Bowen territory. Week 10, you've got Everton at home, but then you've got your fixtures. I think we looked last time are just there's never a good run. Whereas Aston Villa in that period have a 5-game run of Wolves, West Ham, Luton, Forest, and Fulham.
I don't appreciate that the West Ham fixture is a green. But given the start we've had to the season, when you look at some of the other teams, so Aston Villa v West Ham, I would say they're on similar levels at the moment, given the form at the start of this season. Chelsea should be fucking green.
Yeah, that's true. We'll wait and see. Do you think West Ham finish above Chelsea this year?
Probably not.
It'd be funny if they did, though, wouldn't it?
It would be very funny, but I can't see it happening. The problem we've got is European football, and that's still yet to see how that's going to affect us. But yeah, we got a good draw in the Europa League, though, so I'm happy with that. And hopefully we should easily make it out of that group. But it would be much nicer if we went out of it as group winners, because you get a nicer draw in the second round. And Liverpool should walk through their group with no problems at all, shouldn't they?
Yeah, I can't imagine us struggling a whole lot. Very interesting. I just checked. Game week 9, Brighton have Man City, but after that it's Fulham, Everton, Sheffield United, Nottingham Forest, all in a row. That's a really great time to get 3 Brighton players. So I can see myself moving the Brighton players out before game week 8, including a Stupinian, and then just going back in on the wildcard.
That is a sexy run of fixtures, isn't it?
That's when you want to earn 3. That's going to be really, really exciting territory.
Yeah, definitely. I will probably join you on something like that if I was wildcarding around that time, which I haven't decided yet. But I think it's just a matter of waiting and seeing how the team looks over the next few weeks. I think that's the most important thing. But as we're not wildcarding, You've already made your transfers for this week, haven't you? Because you rage transferred.
It seems to be okay. Diaby isn't injured yet. So as it stands, my team is going to be Turner in goal, then Estupinian, Saliba, Chilwell, then across the middle, Salah with the vice captain, although I might captain him to be different. And then Sterling, Diaby, Saka, Mitoma. Then up front it's Alvarez and Haaland with the armband. May be captaining Salah. We'll see.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout, is it, this week? But as we have got to remember, you're the early kickoff on Saturday.
So I won't be captaining Salah. I might bench Salah. Like Emerson Royale, 0 points or 1 off the bench, maybe a better option. What's your team looking like?
So I haven't made any transfers yet. And that's sort of what I'm really pondering on. So my current 11 for the week as things stand is Areola, White, Estupinian, Saliba, Chilwell, Rashford, Saka, and Mbeumo, Diaz, Richarlison, and then Haaland with the armband. Still got João Pedro in, so that's one easy transfer out to. But I want to get Alvarez in. But with the money in the bank, I could even go move Bama to Alvarez.
Yeah, so do that. I would do that.
And then I'm probably going to do 3 transfers. But I don't know. I feel like, do I give Richarlison this one last week? But I've got to get him out.
You have to. I think João Pedro now is a good option because he's likely to be starting. He's played really well in the last 2 games when he started. I think he's a good option again, so I would keep him in if I were you. The next, I think Alvarez is a must. And Richarlison, are you going to go to Maddison or are you looking elsewhere?
It'll almost certainly be Maddison.
Yeah, that makes the most sense. And it's almost like I know it's obvious, but it's obvious for a reason because it's correct.
That's the thing, isn't it? Like, I'm just looking at my money. So if I go move Bama to Alvarez and Richarlison to Maddison, I still have 0.4 in the bank, which means I can potentially make another change elsewhere, but it just depends who I think is worth bringing in. But then obviously that would involve taking a 4-point hit. I could just leave it at that.
What's your goalkeeper situation?
Pickford and Areola.
Would it be worth just moving Pickford down now to Turner while he's 4 million?
What's the point? I don't need the money. It's just taking a 4-point hit for the sake of it. And when I'm going to be wildcarding in a few weeks anyway, probably. So it can wait until then. You watch, Pickford will fucking keep a clean sheet this week. They'll beat Arsenal like 2-0 or something.
That would
Dyche ball to its best. They've had the international break to reset.
While you've got 2 Arsenal defenders as well, and you bench Pickford, that's what's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
you need to start Pickford now. Just play the odds at this point. He'll get.
I might as well, because let's be honest, West Ham aren't going to do anything against City. We're not going to keep a clean sheet there.
Yeah, in that scenario, I would, in your position, be starting Pickford 100%.
Yeah, I think I probably will. I've just got to, at this point, it's going to happen at some point, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, fun. Well, look, we are really looking forward to the weekend of football. I'm actually away for all of next week, but we will still find an opportunity to do a podcast. Not sure which day yet. We'll have to figure that out. But we'll find a way to do it. It may even be worth Sunday night, your time, or Sunday. I don't know. We'll see when I land. But yeah, we'll find a way to do it and to review all of the Premier League action, and we'll discuss our plans for the week afterwards.
The thing is, it's really hard because if we do Sunday night, it means we can't talk about Monday's big game between Forest and Burnley, which has a real big impact on both of our teams. I'm
not sure how we could manage without that. I mean,
no, I don't know.
Maybe we wait till Tuesday or something. Then we'll find a way to do it.
Nah, Sunday, like we say, we'll find a time to squeeze something in. But you're a jet setter. That's the problem, Tom.
That's the problem. Yeah, my work are sending me to a conference in like the crime city of the world. I mean, I'm complaining. I'm getting
Basildon.
It might be Basildon. But yeah, completely. Otherwise, though, good luck everyone this game week. We will catch up with you slightly earlier next week. You can find us on Twitter at Big at the Back.
I'm at Hingers92 and Tom is at Tom Madden92. Tom is the one that's chatting all the bullshit on Twitter most of the time. It's mostly stuff about how Liverpool are the victims of poor refereeing decisions and they don't spend enough money. And Virgil van Dijk never would have said anything rude or aggressive towards the referee.
What are you talking about? He absolutely didn't. You know what? He 100% deserves the extra ban. I want that rule reinforced when other players do it. Because, I'm sorry, bullshit that Van Dijk has been the first person this season to tell a referee to fuck off. Bullshit. And as I said, I'm happy with the ban. I want it replicated across the league and across the teams. Why do I get the feeling this is going to be the only time it happens all season?
Because you're a Liverpool fan and you think that Liverpool fans are always hard done by and you're the victims.
I'm just saying I want everything to be consistent. That's all.
I agree. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Good. Yeah. We are finishing up. So we are available on Twitter sometimes. We're both chatting shit there all the time. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Good luck this weekend, everyone.
Bye.